and this video is about spare wheel carrier catch, how I repair it. It fits nice, you see. Watching Wanna Be Overlander, rebuilding my overland vehicle. Hello and welcome back to Wanna Be Overlander YouTube channel. And this episode I'm going to fixing some small things which I left to do later for my van, and one of these things are the tailgate spare wheel carrier, and this is the original part. You might see this in some previous video, and as you see, I could see myself through it, so this is totally gone with the rust. So, and I could not find anywhere from internet new of this. I think perhaps nobody make these anymore in these days, and there's no any new old stock available. And I see one guy, he printing this one from plastic, but I don't want to try that because I think it's just a temporary solution. So I'm start to cutting myself from the 2mm sheet metal, and I have this pre-cut piece which I bend. I need to rounding those corners, but this start to be going together. Of course it's not ready anything yet, but it starts to go together, and this plastic cover should fit like this. So, but I'm not going to filming much of this. I show you some stages of this production, but this is going to take so much time, perhaps 20-30 hours, I don't know, because I don't know how to do it. I need to figure it out everything myself, so I do just this one piece for me, so I could use this in my project. So these are not going to be any kind of product for sale. I don't understand why nobody make these new. I think it's not so difficult to do. If you know how to do, I think it's not so difficult to make some small scale production run of these. And I think you could have 200-300 euros each if you make the good product. So I'm going to continue this. I'm not filming that. So here is my pre-cutted samples. And this is the original, and you see those angles and this gap. So I made this cardboard sample. I could check the angles are same before I welding this together. So this cover goes like that, and I have this pre-cutted sheet metal piece here, which I'm going to welding here when I found the correct spots. And then I have pre-cutted this washers, which I'm going to welding to here. And these I need to cut this a little bit more, so I could welding this on the place, so it could be similar from the downside, because the bolt holes needs to be deeper, so there is a possible to adjust, so it's tightening from the larger area than just the bolt. So now the all parts are cutted, pre-cutted, and assembly like I should weld this together. Of course there I need to make some small cuttings so I could get the all parts to the correct position, but this is so far quite near what we are planning, and perhaps some few last holes I drill later, because I could get exactly measures for those. But this angle and recess, I think they are just fine like this original part, because there's need to be an empty spot so I could install the rivets for those guiding stainless steel plates, and for those bolt holes are also recessed, because the bolt has some adjusting, and it's need to tightening here in the larger area. And here we need to have treats for the screw which holds this plastic cover on the place, but I could just weld some nut there later when I get the correct position for that. And I think that's it. Next thing is I'm trying to start to welding this, and it's going to be quite tricky. So the welding is not tricky, but if I try to make it looks a little bit better, and I need to lots of grind those weldings off from there. So let's see how it's going to be. So I'm start welding next. So I needed to welding these here, so I could not use anymore these round washers here. So I need to cut these washers, slice off there, so I could welding these on the correct place and around this edge. So let's make test fitting to my ego, and there is a plenty of adjusting. I think this is quite nice. So now this is almost done. I need to remake this kind of spring. I have a stainless steel which I'm going to use to cut and bend this kind of piece. Obviously here is another side broken, so it should be about similar both ways. And then there is a rubber bushing both sides and top of this in down there, so it stops the wheel carrier there. I made a treat here, so I could use this kind of screw here to lock this piece. So this is quite heavy now because it's have lots of steel, but I think this is going to last as long as I have this van. So this is almost done. So I'm test fitting my spare wheel carrier, and I think the catch piece of the latch is working fine. There is enough adjusting, and I think it's just fine. So I take off the one hinge here, and as you see there is those copper sleeves inside, so don't damage those. I don't recommend to take this off because it's not to get the rusty so much, because this copper prevent for its rusting together. But this pin bolt was a little bit corroded, so, and it was so tight, I smashing it perhaps 1 hour to take this off. So I leave another hinge here, and I'm using WD-40 to make this turn, and some kind of synthetic oil spray. So now this is possible able to turn by hand. So this is fine. I don't hit this off because it's not wants to come off. And also I'm ordering new these bolts and new cast struts. I should have those a couple of days later. So, and I need to little bit repair this. There is a rusty hole, so I'm going to fix this. Then I can start to sanding these parts and prepare for painting. And I'm not going to show all of this. I show you later when it's done. And also I'm waiting some spring here. I don't know where I could find it, but that's for another day. So the catch plate is ready, and I make some kind of thin electro zinc plating, and it's not goes 100% to the cavities, but I think if I put there some cavity wax, these are going to last as long as my van. And the wheel rack is here on the bench, so I'm going to clean this and then painting with the primer and then black. I don't use any kind of putting here, which I weld and repair those places. So Now it's ready for painting. So I show you how corroded it is. You see those pits. There's no rust anymore, but it's deep corroded. So that's why I'm going to spray there this structure coat to get it like a even structure surface everywhere, so you could not see anymore so well those corroded places. So because I'm not going to sanding this with any filler. So I cleaned the pin bolt from the rust and it's quite corroded, and I hope it's still gonna hold there so it's not too loose. And I have this hinge here. I'm glued this plastic piece back here, and it's quite rough, but I think it's gonna stay there. I used some 𝐓𝐘𝐒 221, and now we need to put this back on, and I think it's this way. So let's see, can I to fit it here so I'm not ruining those copper sleeves. I think it's going to be in place, yes. And then the pin, and we need to find the place. Yeah, it's now it goes on, and this is the correct way. The pin bolt needs to be in this way, so I should hit this about all the way in. They can have a little bit damage in the color, but what we can do is we need to hit this all the way in. Yeah, I think it's in there and we don't damage it much. So this plastic meaning is be the bumper to limit its opens. So that's it. Let's see how I managed to fit this. I get the new bolts. These are just the 8.8 grade bolts, and the threads are clean. I think the first bolt should be shorter because the hinge is thin from the front end. So I have there shorter bolts, but the other bolts are same length. So I think we should try to manage to install this. I put some butyl here. I cleaned those original seals, and they are pre-fitted to the hinge already. And here is some butyl. So I hope it's make a perfect seal here, so the rain is not going in there. So let's try to fit it. This is first time when I fit it with the rubbers on, so this could be a little bit more tricky, but I think we managed to do this. So I show you a bit of this rubber. There is 2 layers, inner rubber and outer. Outer is just fine, but the inners are, I think they are for the one-time use. And another rubber is this kind. There is a thicker inner core. So let's try to fit this. Because I'm not want to turn it much, because there is that butyl. So it could be a bit tricky, but I think we get the one bolt on, and I try to reach another tool. Yeah. Without touching too much, that messing with that. Now there is this tricky part, how I could get the this moving inner core to correct place, so perhaps I'm not able to fit this. Yeah, if I get the one bolt, then it's already almost there. So I think it's just going to be fine. Yeah. So let's put the rest of bolts. I go take some tools so I can turn this bracket. This one is just fine. I could a little bit turn it inside so I could fit the bolts. Yeah, now it goes on. Yeah, I hope this is the final fitting now. I think I can tighten these to 25 newtons. I'm not sure what is the proper. There is oil in the treats and these are zinc coated 8.8 grade bolts. But I think 25 is just fine. I have a wrong tool. So let's try again. If these are going to lose, I could always re-tighten this. They are not quite tight. Perhaps I'm going to put them a little bit more, something 27. That's it, and then I wait the gas struts and these ball joints here. Then I can continue. So the next phase is replace these original rubbers because these are broken. I could not take off, one was missing and I could not take off them without a little bit tearing off. So I think they're not going to last long if I use this original. So I have 3 different choices of this kind of bush rubbers. The problem is the original one have a very small nose here which comes on another side, and if I use this kind I need to cut this bolt very short so I can get the nut here without interfering the sheet metal behind of this. But I think if I look like this, there is just place enough for the nut. So I think this is possible, doable. So, and also there is a slots for the rivet. So if I use this kind, I need to make a slots myself there. So I could tightening this together. And but perhaps this one is quite okay if I cut it to the same length. If it's too soft, then I could use this style. That's kind of project. And then I need to make a new spring here. So I have this new Gast strut, and it's a nice piece. Stabilus Nittomat 500N is the unit. I'm going to put the grease on the ball joints and then fit this to the wheel rack. I'm not sure which way this should go in. this way or this way, but I think it's better be this way so the all dust not goes to the seal all the time. And flop this in and then open this and let's see. Yeah, it goes nice to the new ball joint. And then I'm going to open this, and I think this way I should able to fit this on. Yeah, it flops quite nice. So yeah, that's it. It pushes it to the closed position, and when I open it, it holds it open here. So this is nice. So this is the locking latch, and this is the original spring. It's broken, but I just use this for an example, and one company made for me these new springs, so I have plenty of these now, so I could put them listing on the perhaps eBay or my website. So, and they coming here like this with this pin bolt. So let's fit this to the van. There was a green Loctite, lots of in this street, so I'm trying to put it again here. So let's see, do I manage to fit this together, because now I have a spring load and I need to put one washer also behind there, so this could be quite tricky. So we have those plastic washers behind there, and now we should install this with the spring. So there's lots of tension. Then we need to put this collar on the place so we could have one washer there. Okay, now there is place for this. Yeah, almost there. Almost there. So now we are on the treats. There is this one hole here. I think there should have some kind of plastic. I put some plastic screw there, but I don't know what kind it should be, because it stops this movement to not go too far. But perhaps this one is not correct one, but for now I have that one there. So now this latch is on the place. A new spring works nice. I'm not sure how tight this should be. It's a small bolt, but I just put it hand tight, and I have that green treat lock there. So I think now it's just fine. It's not going to lose anywhere. So now I have a new rubber here, rubber bushing, and it's need to cut very low because we don't want it scratch the paint here. So I think now I could install this permanently here. I need to use washers under here too, because obviously this have a big holes now, and it should be about this position. Now I have a longer bush. First I try it with the lower bush one, but let's see, now it's obviously tighter. Now it's locked perfect. There is one thing, my plastic screw, it's not thick enough, because after this head hits the plastic and it's going to break this plastic, so it should stop it a little bit lower like that. So if you slam this closed, it's not hit the plastic. So, but now this looks quite nice. Let's fit the wheel here, the tire, spare tire, and this is not any kind of tire. This is black around and Pirelli.
What kind of tires you had?
Black around Pirelli.
Same as a Finnish famous rally driver use. First time this van has a spare wheel carrier outside of the van. So I fit this plastic cover here. It fits nice and the latch is working very nice now. You see, I push the wheel, it's go against that rubber in behind there, so it's locked very nice. I make some plastic repairs inside here, so we will see how it's handled. It's not very dry, but I think it's enough if I could fit it in there. So let's see, let's try carefully. I used just the standard flathead screws. So if I'm not crack anything, this should be fine. This is not very strong. Also, it's not necessary. If it's broken, you can dump it all the time, and it works fine without this cover also. But now we have it here. Will it close? Yes, it's fine. It's very fine. Yeah. So thank you for watching this video. This episode is all about fixing my spare wheel carrier catch, and now it's complete, and we have new struts here, and it works like brand new now. I show you once again. So you release this handle here, and the Gast struts push it open here. Very nice and smooth, and it holds here if there is a wind. And it locks here. Perfect and smooth. It's very nice. So this is success. I could little bit put some cream here, plastic cleaner, so it could look brand new. But I think anyway, this is not to fit my new tires, which I'm going to get soon. So this is too small for that. But for a while, it's here. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you like the video. So this is the video about the spare wheel carrier catch. And now it's all done and complete. I have a longer video where I mount this bracket here, the carrier itself to the car frame, to the van frame, but this video is for the catch, because that was so rusty, I made it all again myself.